Well, we've got a little bit of water out here. I'm Jackson Burns. I'm the redneck archaeologist. And this is the great freeze out of 2011, February the 2nd. As you can see, the water is hard. I'm out here at my house and we have no electricity. The whole state of Texas is without electricity. My wife just checked on the status from the Center Point Energy, which is a joke. They all went yesterday to Oklahoma to rescue Oklahoma, and now here we are in Houston, Texas, without anybody to rescue us. As you can see, all the snow on the ground, not a drop. It rained a little bit yesterday, and today we are without electricity. Boing! No juice, nothing. We've been without electricity for about 3.5 hours now. We did contact the electrical company, and they said that please stand by. We're having rolling blackouts all across the state of Texas because of this massive storm that we've had. I moved away from Oklahoma because they had snowstorms. It got deep. People lost their electricity and they lost their lives. Well, there's not any snow on the ground. The cables are alright. Center Point Energy, once again, from Hurricane Ike. Whenever that disaster and fiasco came through, it took weeks and weeks and weeks before Center Point Energy ever got our electricity turned back on. Now here we are, about 35 degrees. Maybe, well, I guess with it still being froze, it's probably maybe closer to 33 degrees because the ice is melting right now. Well, the whole city of Houston, 4 million people, is without electricity. Thank you, Center Point Energy. You're all over it, ain't you? Alright, our lights just come on just about a minute and a half ago. My wife just got off the phone with Center Point Energy, and as soon as she hung up the phone, the lights come on. Center Point Energy, I'm out for you. Hello, folks. This is about an hour later, 45 minutes to an hour later. We are now without lights again. Houston, Texas. Center Point Energy, man, you guys are winners. So we're in the middle of the day. Ice is melting off. It's not even cold outside anymore, and we're sitting here without any electricity. Dandy, Center Point. You're all over it, ain't you? Now, as you can see, over here in the shade, it looks like it's about 15-20 degrees. Out in the sun, it's not even freezing. We will go out here and look at a mud puddle and see if there's any hard water or none whatsoever. That's liquid water. It's not that cold out here. So this is about 11:30. Lights are off again. It's a nice clear day. We'll even go look at the sun, sky, whatever. There's our sun. We do have sun. right behind me. In about, I don't remember what year, it's about 4 or 5 years ago. It was right before Hurricane Ike came in, about 2 years before that. CenterPoint Energy was allotted $2.5 billion to overdo the infrastructures of Houston, of their infrastructure, their lines, transformers, whatever, all through Houston and the county of Harris County. And they had used none before the hurricane. When the hurricane came in, it destroyed about 90% of all the infrastructure, power infrastructure of Houston. And it was because the trees had grown into the lines and were blown over into it, and they had faulty lines, faulty transformers, whatever. There was no money that was allocated or even used for the power of Houston before then. I don't know what's been used since then, but I can guarantee you one thing: if this is all it takes to blow out all of the city of Houston and the state of Texas, we're in deep doo-doo, because this ain't right. I mean, you know, I've seen way worse than this to ever cause it up in Oklahoma, you know, to blow you out, or any other place, even in Michigan and Fargo and those places. Of course, they're set up for it, but that just tells you how inept CenterPoint Energy is in Houston, Texas. And then they sent our crews up to Oklahoma to battle this weather storm, or the snowstorm that they got up there, and we don't even have crews down here to take care of our stuff. I'm driving through the neighborhood, and on one side of the street they have lights, and on the other side they don't, which is the standard for this neighborhood, has been for years. And what I'm finding is that along the canal over here, which we're headed to now, is where we have all the problems. So along the canal, for some reason or another, is where all the damage is done on these power lines. Now, I don't know if it's just our little section that gets blown out, but I do know one thing: whenever we called them earlier, they turned it on real quick, and they did that from downtown. So it wasn't anything to do with the lines itself so much, but it was to do with the power company downtown. So evidently what's happening is it's blowing downtown. But I can see now, by looking at some of these trees over here that's grown into the line, it's just like it was before Hurricane Ike, or just right after Hurricane Ike, because they had to come in and cut a bunch of trees down, and they're just letting them grow again. So much for Houston, Texas. We have lights over here on this side of the street, but I don't see any on this side. You can see behind me, and where we just went through, that is a safety issue. Of course, the cop didn't seem to mind that. You know, we've got lights that's blown. That's red lights, green lights. So we're having people having to stop all over the place, and they have been known to run those things. So that's something that is affecting us. Is it has blown the lights, the red lights, the stop lights. So that's the big white out, or the green out, or the blackout, or whatever you want to call it in Houston. Something that really gets my goat is how in the world could they justify saying that because it's cold up north Texas that we're having rolling blackouts all the way down to Houston, Texas? Why wouldn't that also affect us during heat waves? And Houston is known as hellhole. It gets extremely hot here, and everybody has their air conditioner on, and that's only run by electricity. However, the heating systems are usually run by gas. There's some that can be run by electricity, but there's a lot of gas heating element here in this town. I just can't get the two together, the mixture of why we would be blowing now in the wintertime, you know, all of our electrical circuits and all that, when we should be using less electricity. I don't know, maybe they use more electricity during the winter cold. I don't know. I just ain't smart like that. Center point is. Okay, our power outages were planned. 330,000 Houston area customers of CenterPoint were offline, or basically out of power today. There's been several rolling blackouts, they call it. Basically, the Texas grid operators have called an end to the cold weather-induced power emergency, saying the rolling blackouts that have hit hundreds of thousands of customers would be coming to an end. I am reading this off of Fuel Fix, but there is a strong possibility of more tonight, so we'll see where that goes. But here's the deal: is they up to 7,000 megawatts of power plant capacity was unexpectedly knocked offline early on Wednesday, leading to call for a planned outages throughout the state to avoid a larger failure. So we've had rolling brownouts all day long in Houston, Texas, and I guess all over the state of Texas to prevent a larger failure of power. Okay. Says as of 13:07 p.m., ERCOT has canceled their directive to CenterPoint Energy to curtail delivery of power to end-use customers in its greater Houston service territory. All service associated with this directive is in the process of being restored. Power restoration may not be immediate. However, CenterPoint spokesperson Floyd LeBlanc said that the outages that occurred today for more typical reasons, such as tree falling on a power line, weren't as easily discernible to the company during the power emergency. That means it may have taken longer to get work crews out to fix those problems. One, the work crews are in Oklahoma right now, supposedly. Number two, this was allotted many years ago, $2.5 billion to clean those trees off your power lines. So it all comes right back to CenterPoint Energy. It's your failure, boys. Now here's some of the suggestions CenterPoint has for conservation today and tomorrow. Turn down the electric furnace heater thermostats to 68 degrees or lower. Freeze your ass off, basically. Limit the use of electric appliances, only to those that you need most. Non-essential chores such as laundry and running a dishwasher, don't do that. Reducing the opening and closing refrigerators, freezers, and doors. And also, customers are encouraged to continue to conserve power. However, there is a strong possibility rolling blackouts may be needed again this evening or tomorrow, the Electric Reliability Council of Texas said in a statement. Now, who in the hell is that? Jackson Burns. Reporting from Houston, Texas, in the middle of the power blackout of 2011.